हेलो एंड वेलकम बैक टू स्टोरी अंडरलाइन। आज से मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री एक्चुअली में स्टार्ट होने वाली है, सो आई होप आप लोग लास्ट तक के बने रहेंगे। सो द स्ट्रगल बिगिंस। इंडियन नेशनलिज्म grew partly as a result of colonial policies and partly as reaction to colonial policies। देखते हैं फैक्टर्स जो इंक्लूडेड हैं। फ्रेंच रिवॉल्यूशन, इंडियन रेनेसा, प्रोग्रेसिव कैरेक्टर ऑफ socio-religious reform movements, offshoot of modernization initiated by British board imposed political unity in India, political, administrative and economic unity, military, defense, economic penetration, commercial exploitation were the major driving forces behind planned development of modern means of communications. Professional civil service, unified judiciary, codified civil and criminal laws throughout length and breadth. It had twofold effects. First, economic fate of people of different regions was linked together. Second, transport and communication brought people and leaders together. Western thought and education. English educated class formed the middle class intelligentsia. It was minority of Indian society but a dynamic minority which had sense of unity of purpose and hope. Role of press and literature. Second half of 19th century saw its growth, that is 1850s, criticizing government policies and urged people to unite, spreading modern ideas of self-government and democracy. Rediscovery of India's past by Max Muller, R.G. Bhandarkar and Swami Vivekanand. They highlighted Indo-Aryans belonged to same ethnic group from which other nations of Europe evolved. Reactionary policies and racial arrogance of rulers, their racial means of white superiority, that is, in reduction of maximum age limit for ICS examinations from 21 years to 19 years, organization of Grand Delhi Darbar of 1877 in spite of famine, Vernacular Press Act of 1878 and Arms Act, Ilbert Bill controversy. Controversy was Indian judge can now try Europeans. So Europeans were against Ilbert Bill and Indian nationalists were supporting Ilbert Bill. So these were the factors because of which Indian nationalism grew. Political associations before INC, Indian National Congress. Early half of 19th century was dominated by wealthy and aristocratic elements. They demanded administrative and educational reforms. Now, the second half was dominated by educated middle class. बात करते हैं pre-Congress campaigns की. Imposition of import duty on cotton in 1875 against Arms and Vernacular Press Act and Indianization of government service in 1878. Of course, Indian Congress was supporting Ilbert Bill. It was against Lytton Afghan adventure क्योंकि वहाँ soldiers पैसे इंडिया के खर्च हो रहे थे. Indian Civil Services agitation. नेक्स्ट हम बात करते हैं बंगाल की. पॉलिटिकल एसोसिएशंस बिफोर आईएनसी इन बंगाल. भंगभाषा प्रकाशिका सभा ऑफ 1836. सेकंड इज जमींदारी एसोसिएशन और लैंड होल्डर्स society. It began the political activity and method of constitutional agitation. Bengal British Indian Society of 1843. Collection and dissemination of information relating to actual condition of people. Both Zamindari Association and Bengal British Indian Society merged into British Indian Associates in 1851. Indian League of 1875 under Shishir Kumar Ghosh, stimulating nationalism for stimulating nationalism amongst people. Indian Association of Calcutta, aka Indian National Association of 1876 under Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose. Its aim was to create strong public opinion on political question and unify Indian people. Simultaneously holding of civil services examination in India was another agitation. It was against Arms and Press Act. It later got merged with Indian National Congress of 1886. Next हम बात करते हैं बॉम्बे की. Pune Sarvajanik Sabha of 1867 under Mahadev Govind Ranade. Its aim was to bridge gap between government and people. Bombay Presidency Association of 1885 under Badruddin Tyabji, Firoz Shah Mehta and K.T. Talang. बात करते हैं मद्रास की. मद्रास महाजन सभा 1884, वीरा राघवचारी, बी सुब्रमण्या अय्यर एंड पी आनंद चरलू. सो बात करते हैं फॉर्मेशन ऑफ INC, इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस, इन December 1885 अंडर A.O. Hume. फर्स्ट सेशन ऑफ INC at Gokuldas Tejbal Sanskrit College. It was preceded by Vomesh Chandra Banerjee with 72 delegates, Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose being main architect of INC. In 1890, Kadambini Ganguly, who was first woman graduate of Calcutta University, addressed Congress session. Theories of formation of INC. बात करते हैं safety wall theory की. Hume formed the Congress with idea that it would prove to be safety valve for releasing the growing discontent of the Indians. इसके against में लाए lightning conductor theory by Bipin Chandra, according to which early Congress leaders used Hume as lightning conductor. What were the main aims of INC? To find a democratic and nationalist movement, politically educate people, formulate and present popular demands before the government with a view to unify the people over common cause, promote friendly relations among nationalists and different parts of the country. Let's talk about era of moderates 1885 to 1905. Leaders जो थे दादा भाई नवरोजी, फिरोज शाह मेहता, P.E. Vacha, W.C. Banerjee and S.N. Banerjee. What were the approaches of moderates? Prayer, petitions and constitutional agitation. Methodology was to create strong public opinion, educate and unite them, persuade British government and British public opinion to introduce reforms in India. British Committee of INC was established in London in 1889. Dadabhai Naoroji spent a substantial portion of his life campaigning abroad. They demanded reduction in land revenue, abolition of salt tax, reduction in military expenditure, improvement in working of condition of labours, encouragement to modern industries through tariff protection and direct government aid. What were the contributions of moderates? Economic critique of British imperialism by Dadabhai Naoroji, R.C. Dutt and Dinshaw Vacha. They introduced drain theory. They were rewarded with constitutional reforms like Imperial Legislative Council constituted by Indian Council Act of 1861. Sayyid Ahmad Khan, Raj Bihari Ghosh and K.L. Narulkar were amongst nominated. Nationalists were able to transform council into forums for ventilating popular grievances, for exposing the defect, criticizing, raising basic economic issues. At the same time, they failed to widen the democratic base of the movement by not including masses, especially women, by not demanding right to vote for all. 1885 to 1892 demands included expansion of council, more participation, second reforms of council, that is more power to council, long-term demand of democratic self-government, majority of elected Indians, control over the budget, slogan they gave, no taxation without representation. Later on demands widened to self-government, campaign for general administrative reforms, Indianization of government services, differences in emoluments between Europeans and soldiers and Indian, on political ground, economic drain of country, under moral grounds, Indians were discriminated. They campaigned for separate judicial and executive functions, call for increase in expenditure on welfare, agriculture, irrigation and education. Better treatment of Indian labor abroad, protection of civil rights. It became integral part of freedom struggle due to various outbreaks of Punjab at arrest of Tilak, deportation of Natu brothers without a trial. बात करते हैं Indian Council Act of 1892 की. Governor General could have 10 to 16 non-officials. Previously, it was 6 non-officials nominated by Bengal Chambers of Commerce and Provincial Legislative Council. Budget could be discussed and questions could be asked. Budget could not be voted upon, nor amendments can be introduced. No supplementary question could be asked. Officials retained their majority. तो करते हैं evaluation of era of moderates. Great deal to awaken the nationalist sentiments, created wide national awakening of all having common interest and feeling of belonging to one nation. They were able to establish political truth that Indians should be ruled in interest of Indians only. They exposed basically exploitative character of British. They created solid base for mass-based national movement in years that followed. Role of masses: moderate phase has narrow social base. Masses played passive role. They lacked political faith in masses, lacking militant political position against authorities, attitude of government, hostile to Congress despite using moderate methods, attitude stiffened further after 1857 revolt. Government resorted to open condemnation of Congress, calling them seditious Brahmins, factory of sedition. They adopted policy of divide and rule and divided them on the basis of religion through policy of carrot and stick. बात करते हैं militant nationalism of 1905 to 1909. It was radical approach to political activity taking concrete shape by 1905. What were the factors that led to militant nationalism? Recognition of true nature of British rule, not conceding any of the demands. Masses getting more attracted towards feeling that only an Indian government lead Indians a path of progress. Disillusionment aggravated by economic miseries of 1890. Severe famines killed 90 lakh people between 1896 to 1900. Bubonic plague affected larger areas of Deccan. Government, instead of giving more rights, was taking away even the existing rights. In 1892, the Indian Council Act failed to satisfy nationalists. In 1897, Natu brothers were deported without trial. Tilak and others imposed on charges of sedition. 1898, repressive laws under IPC section 124A. 1899, Indian members in Calcutta Corporation was reduced. 1904, Official Secret Acts according to which curb freedom of press. 1904, Indian Universities Act gave greater government control over universities. Reason was they considered Indian universities as factories producing political revolutionaries. British rule was no longer progressive. It was suppressing the spread of education, especially mass and technical education. Growth of confidence and self-respect. Tilak, Aurobindo Ghosh, B.P. Pal repeatedly urged the nationalists to rely on the capacities of Indian people or masses. Growth of education, which led to increased awareness. Side by side, rise in unemployment and underemployment among the educated became the factor for militant nationalism. The factors that include international influences: Japan after 1867, victory over Russia in 1905, Boer War of 1899, where English suffered setback. It became clear that united people willing to make sacrifice could take on mightiest of the empire. Reaction to increasing westernization, which submerged Indian national identity in British Empire. Therefore, Swami Vivekanand, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, Anand Saraswati exploded the myth of Western superiority by referring to the richness of Indian culture. Dayanand's political message was India for the Indians. Dissatisfaction with achievements of moderates during first 15 to 20 years considered as political mendicancy. Reactionary policies of Curzon also became the factor which gave rise to militant nationalism of 1905 to 1909. मैं बार बार इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ ताकि आपको भी जल्दी याद हो जाए. Reactionary policies of Curzon refused to recognize India as a nation and insulted Indian nationalists. And Official Secret Act was passed. Indian University Act, which gave more power to government over Indian universities. Calcutta Cooperation Act, and most importantly, partition of Bengal. Existence of militant school of thought in 20th century, like in Bengal under Raj Narayan Bose, Ashwini Kumar Datta, Aurobindo Ghosh and Bipin Chandra Pal. In Maharashtra under Vishnu Shastri Chiplankar and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Punjab was under Lala Lajpat Rai. What were the basic tenets of the school of militant nationalism? Hatred for foreign rule, Swaraj to be the goal, direct political action and personal sacrifice, belief in capacity of masses. Have covered the struggle begins. मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो पे, तब तक के लिए ऑल द बेस्ट. थैंक यू.